Thank you. The next question is from another constituent.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Bean John. I live over Paris. Okay, my English is not very good, so I have to use Chinese. 我的问题是，我住 Chinatown 的现在可负担，我讲的也是像我家也是有关可负担，我们希望多一点，因为房价实在太贵，而且。就是说，很多人不得不离开香港。我住在香港10几年，真的是整幢就很在里面能够搬走。所以，作为你们会做什么让我们香港会有更多的可负担服务？谢谢。
This is for Stephen. Her question reflects the continuing importance of affordable housing. So another question opportunity for you to expand on what you said previously. She says that currently there is insufficient affordable housing stock to accommodate the need in Chinatown, resulting in market rates soaring to over $3,000 a month, and the displacement of long-time residents, many of whom earn less than $20,000 per year. Yet state funding for building new affordable housing decreases with each year, even as building costs skyrocket. What will you do to create more affordable housing in Chinatown? So again, it reflects the importance of this issue. Steve?
So, of all renters in the greater Boston area, more than half pay 30% of their gross income to housing costs. More than a quarter of those renters pay more than 50% of their gross income to rent costs. Okay? We have high-end, high-rise buildings that are driving up the costs of home values and driving up the costs of rent. So what we need to do is we need to make new policies for policies to make developers, give funding to developers to have the type of more smaller stock, more urban stock development that is now in high demand. We must also continue to use Chapter 40B and 40R funding. We must continue the use of that. We must have a comprehensive plan for the city that will move us in the right direction. So, two sources of funding, okay, are that one draws from the state revenue and the other a variety of government funding. We have to make sure that the agency that these are funded by is DHCD, and basically, they basically do the they distribute the capital funds. So we, as a state senator, I would make sure that these local housing authorities get more capital funds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to echo some of the points I brought up earlier, I think I'd like it to be very clear that developers need to also take some responsibility for the disappearance of Chinatown and for a lot of our communities and making them unaffordable. And part of that responsibility would be putting it on their shoulders to ensure that as they are building buildings, they're also building communities. We're talking about incentivized zoning, for example, that there's a certain percentage of the money that per square foot as they build a building has to be committed to the community or community programs. I also think that we need to look at pathways to ownership. For a lot of people, looking at cooperative housing as a means of that kind of ownership. Looking at ways in which we can purchase these buildings from developers or from small landlords collectively and keep them permanently affordable so that people who have been long-term tenants can actually continue to stay in the building and pay their rents, but actually own the building. I think we need to look at ways in which we push back on developers, invite them to the table, but assure that the community is really leading the development, not the developers.
Again, as chairman of the Public Housing Authority, I see that the capital funding for Housing Authority is waning. I see more money is spent on the emergency homelessness bill. And I think it's time we move away from putting people in hotels and motels and and making sure that the housing stock we have is funded, and that those apartments, when they do come online and become available, can be turned over in enough time to get people in and with all deliberate speed. I think 40B is something we need to look at again. It's been a while since the legislature has looked at 40B and increasing the amount of low-income housing available in new developments. And realistically, in Chinatown, we're so densely populated that we need to look to mitigating people moving out of Chinatown and reinvest in the MBTA and make sure that if people have to move out, they can still get to and from work and back and forth to their community.
It comes down to the community here and coming up with master plans that make sense for the entire area. The reality is that housing that becomes available in all parts of the city helps to relieve pressure on rents and housing stock here available right here in Chinatown. So whether it's East Boston, Chinatown, or Dorchester, or even outside the city, all of those have a direct effect on the availability of housing and have a direct effect on the availability and pricing of housing. So all of that has a direct effect on people's wallets in the end. So we need to use a lot of tools available for us, including Chapter 40B, 40R, availability for pushing MassWorks projects to help fund the affordable housing fund as well. Increasing the level of availability of affordable housing for developments that do happen, and helping to push developers to focus on areas that are underutilized or where nothing exists currently, so that it does not work to displace existing residents.
谢谢你哦。We have to build more housing. We have to build more housing now, and I think the best way to do that is to support community land trust, the one that's working in Dudley Square and that can work here. I believe strongly that the public land must be used for public good, and it's our land. And again, it's increasing state funding for affordable housing creation in larger new developments and in smaller community-based rental projects, and fighting to preserve the expiring use units across our community that are at risk of losing their affordable housing designation, and advocating for a just cause eviction so that no one gets thrown out because of rental hikes.
Again, this is an issue that I've been grappling with as a state representative the last 3 years, and we continue to do so as a state senator. It takes creative solutions, and there isn't a silver bullet. Two of the bills that I mentioned that I'm working on have the potential to relieve the pressure. The bond authorization we did 2 years ago, I hope that the Baker administration uses that funding that it was intended for to increase use. And then the disposition of state properties, such as the MBTA is doing now, or the Baker administration is doing now, and making sure that when that happens, that the result is what the community wants, to preserve the community. With respect to development, everyone here has talked about it. I've actually been standing up to developers for the last 3 years, to getting better results, to represent the community, to preserve the communities that I've represented, and we'll continue to do that as a senator. Thank you.